Okay, today I wanted to talk about a scarf joint and kind of how to get a smooth scarf joint. There are many different ways on how to cut a scarf joint. Probably the most common way is just to lay it out and use a saw like this and try to keep it right on the line. I watched a video about 3 or 4 months ago from KP I'll have a link to that video down below in the description, and he made a fixture that goes on the miter saw, and it worked great in his application, but it didn't work for mine, and I'll tell you why in just a second here. And I also made a little fence with the proper angle that I like, with the slot here that'll ride, or the little thing that'll ride in the miter slot. And you'll see that here in this video where I was cutting. But as you can see, I still didn't get a very nice cut. Now let me get back to the this fixture, and I'll show you why this one didn't work. Okay, the problem I ran into making this, I thought this was going to work good, and I was really excited about making this, but the difference between this one and what the guy at KP did is he was setting his for 15 degrees. I personally like a 12-degree angle on the neck, so this angle right here is at 12 degrees, and when I try to put a neck in here, I either can't get it in there, or the bigger problem was when I bring the saw down, I can tell that this guard, let me see if I got my hand out of the way, is going to hit on the neck. Now it might push over and squeeze in there, but I really don't want to get into doing that. So the 15 degrees with that extra 3 degrees moves this thing at a better angle and gets it out of the way. So that's why I just decided to go ahead and try to make a fixture for my bandsaw. Okay, so no matter how you cut your scarf joints, whether you're doing it by hand with the saw like this, or you're using the miter jig that I showed earlier, or you have a bandsaw fixture, or maybe you're just cutting them just manually with a bandsaw, or maybe you got a fixture set up for your table saw, doesn't make any difference. No matter how you're cutting them, to get a really smooth scarf joint, you're probably going to have to do at least a little bit of sanding, no matter how good you are. Well, I found that this is a scarf joint sanding jig that I made about 6 years ago, and I found this to be just a very valuable tool in getting these things smooth. I showed you this cut a while ago when it came off the bandsaw, and this is just after a few minutes of sanding. I'll show you how this works. But first let me say this isn't an original idea by mine. This I saw in a video by David Fletcher. He's an Australian, I believe, and I think his YouTube channel is Fletcher Custom Guitars, I believe is what it is. And I'm not even sure if he's still active, but he did a video on this several years ago. He didn't have any plans or anything, but I decided to make one for myself. And this, I made one, had a 12-degree angle on it. So that's why I was trying to develop another fixture to do the scarf joint, to try to get it a little bit cleaner, but at 12 degrees. But let me show you how this works. You stick your neck in here. Now I left this one, this is 3 inches wide here. I left it wide so that I could do regular guitar necks as well as cigar box guitar necks. But you can take a piece of 3/4 plywood to push the guitar neck against to get it centered here. You want to bring this edge where you made your scarf joint cut, your saw cut, down here where it's hanging over just a little bit. And then you can also take this piece and you can put some double-sided tape or whatever and attach this one right here, and you can tell where this goes right here. And then once you have that all fastened down, you take a clamp. That's why this is sticking out farther. You could take a clamp to hold that down. And you basically just set this on here and slide it back and forth, and you've got sandpaper right here. I just have one grit of sandpaper on here. You could actually put some more coarse sandpaper on one half and some finer on the other. You know, use the coarse like this, then turn it around and finish sanding it that way. But I just been sanding just a few minutes, and it's amazing how how little time this takes to use this jig to get this thing fixed. Also, one thing I want to mention before, well, first let me say that I've got a download on my website. There'll be a link down below in the description, and you can go straight to the website, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I have made plans for one like this with a 12 degree and also one like this for 15 degrees. So if anybody wants these plans, they're free. Feel free to go to the website and download them. But one other thing I wanted to mention too is there are really a couple of different kinds of scarf joints, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but the way this works, the way I cut my scarf joints, is I put the headstock piece underneath the neck and glue it that way. That way I've got my scarf joint right here. It'll also be right here at the neck. But I like to add paddles, and I don't have one of mine, but this is one that I bought from CB Gatton. You can see how they do these scarf joints the same way. If you look close, you can barely tell there's a difference in the wood right here. But they also glue on these strips to make a paddle so that you can make a custom headstock similar to this. And this is what I like to put on my guitars. So not necessarily this shape, but with a CNC I can put any kind of shape on there. So I like to do that, and that's why I like to put the scarf joint or the headstock piece on the bottom of the neck. And you can see here the way this is designed, it's going to give me about 6 inches there, plenty of room for me to do a custom headstock. Now if I had set it up here, you notice now this is only about probably less than 3 inches, a couple inches or so. So sometimes you can do them that way, but there's a difference in the starting piece and where you put your layout lines. For example, to make a 6-inch headstock the way I do it with the headstock piece underneath there, this whole total piece is only 5 15/16. So that's where you start laying out your lines. If you wanted to do it the other way, where you're putting it up here, and then you would need more headstock here, this piece would need to be about 9.5 inches. So there's a difference in how you want to do it. There's advantages to both. I like doing it like this because when you put those strips here, it just helps to enforce that joint. One advantage of doing it this way is when you put it this way, now your fretboard is going to cover up that scarf joint there, and you only have that one there that's in the back. So if you've got one that's not really nice looking, you can, if you can't get it cleaned up good, you could always do it that way. But you need to know ahead of time how you're going to lay these out. And I also have this drawing on the website, same place, where you can download this for free. And, it'll give you a little diagram here to kind of help you understand how the scarf joints work, which way they go, and stuff like that. So I think that's going to about do it for this video. Like I said, I'm going to have links to KP at CBG Guitars, his video showing how to make the miter slot or the miter scarf jig, and then I have I'll have a link to David Fletcher's to show how he built it. He actually used MDF, and like I said, if you want free plans to this, either in a 12 degree angle or a 15 degree angle, either one, or you can get both of them, doesn't matter. They're available for download for free on my website. Just go to the link down below in the description, scroll all the way down, and just click on the download button. So I guess that's going to do it for this video. If you got anything out of this video, please like and subscribe. If you want to get notifications when I put out a video, click the little bell. And I guess that's going to do it. And as always, I thank you very much for watching.